that there be no change in this. Each individual in the posterity of Adam had a separate existence from the time of Adam. Every single person in this room, who would have thought it? If you don't know the Quran, you won't be aware of this. But you actually had a separate existence as a soul from the posterity of Adam. And you actually testified in that state that there's one God. And then you see that makes sense when you say everybody was born a Muslim. But your parents or your environment changes you. And you're trying to go back to that purified state. And that's what we're here to encourage each other to do. Is to go back to that pure state, that state where you had no knowledge of sin. And you didn't practice sinful things. A covenant was taken from you at this time. It's in Surah 7 of the Holy Quran, verse 172. You actually did your Shahada then as a soul. And you can check this out with any scholars. I know I'm getting some interesting looks in the class today. A lot of people don't know about this. This is the beauty of tafsir. This is the beauty of getting into the depth of the Holy Quran. It's the beauty of connecting to that deeper part of yourself that sometimes we're not even aware of. So it looks like the camera crew is here now. Alhamdulillah. Each individual in the prosperity of Adam had a separate existence from the time of Adam, and a covenant was taken from all of them, which is binding on each individual. You see, if you look at Islam, you enter into a contract when you become a Muslim. When you do get married, you enter into another contract called marriage. We have social contracts, all of Islam. We have ways that we do things. There's a certain order, and that's how we do it. The words in the text refer to the descendants of the children of Adam, that is, to all humanity, born or unborn, without any limit of time. Those souls that declare there's one God, that have not even been born yet, people that have not even been impregnated, that are waiting for that soul's entrance into your body, that soul testified that there's one God. And that soul is familiar with that. That's that fitrat of Allah. And one day, even if you say I'm an atheist, when the hammer drops on your hand, you'll say, God, help! Some people will say other things, but I can't say that in the class. Right. Yes, brother?
When exactly does the soul enter the body?
According to the scholars, it's within the first 120 days in the fetus. Yes.
So it's after conception?
Yes, after conception, yes. 18 days, there's something that they call a heartbeat, but that's not a soul. In that fetus, there's a beating heart. And then there's brain, but it doesn't send any signals, but it doesn't have the ruh. And that's the piece that I'm speaking to you about here in being a Muslim and being a mu'min, is developing that ruh, going back to that spirit in the way that it was performed and not letting any change take place in that. That's the key. Adam's seed carries on the existence of Adam and succeeds to his spiritual heritage. Humanity has been given by Allah certain powers and faculties whose possession creates on our side special spiritual obligations which we must faithfully discharge. In Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 1, O ye who believe, fulfill all obligations. What is our first obligation? To worship Allah. Divine obligations arise from our spiritual nature and our relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He created us and implanted in us the faculty of knowledge and foresight. Besides the intuition and reason which He gave us, He made nature responsive to our needs, and His signs in nature are so many lessons to us and our inner life. He further sent messengers and teachers for the guidance of our conduct in individual, social, and public life. It's amazing, but if we look at Surah Kahf, the surah that we're supposed to read in Jummah every Friday. It's so amazing because it talks about the development of the individual self, the development of a community, and it talks about your relationship with Allah. All these gifts create corresponding obligations which we must fulfill. Even in our human and material life, we undertake mutual obligations. We make promises and we enter into commercial and social contracts. We enter into a contract of marriage. We must faithfully fulfill all obligations in all these relationships, most importantly, our relationship with our Creator and Sustainer. Truth and fidelity are part of religion and all relations of life and can only be meted out if we have purified our hearts. If you have not purified your heart, when you go to pray, you will actually resent that you have to pray. You'll say, oh my God, I got to do this again. It's so hard to be a Muslim and stuff about this. You know, I mean, why do we have to do all this? You know, I mean, well, imagine if we'd had to do it 50 times a day. But I mean, you know what? We know that the reality is that some of us think this way. Doubt is part of Iman, by the way. It's normal. It's human to have doubt. Don't punish yourself because you have doubt. It just means that you have Iman. You have enough faith to have doubt. If you don't have any faith, you won't have any doubt. Yes, sister.
One of the things that I've had to start doing, because everyone's busy. We're all busy trying to get whatever we need done today, is that I thought, what a beautiful faith that we have that makes us stop 5 times a day for maybe 5 minutes to thank Allah, because we are all so very blessed compared to other countries, other families, other situations. So if it wasn't an obligation, I can personally say that I would not stop to pray until probably the end of the day.
Of course we wouldn't. Most of us wouldn't do anything that Allah has told us to do if it wasn't an obligation. But that's true surrender to Allah. That's what submission is all about. I'm giving up the self. The self must die. And the soul must be resurrected. It is the soul that we must develop. Because the self, you know, is that beautiful verse in the Quran that says in the heart there's this piece of flesh. And if that piece of flesh is purified, there's like 2 hearts in the body. You know, somebody will say, you know, my heart is really sore with him right now. In my heart, I have resentment. So then that's obviously not that piece of heart that Allah is talking about, because that piece is not submitted. But that heart, that is the ruh, that is connected to Allah, and the conditions that Allah put on everything that we do. And this is why Aqidah, understanding of Islam, is so important. If you don't have the right understanding, your practice will be flawed. And you won't do things in the right way, and then perhaps you will be confused. And this is why we try so hard to give you the proofs of everything that we say. On the authority of Abu Hurairah, who said, the Messenger of Allah said, verily Allah the Exalted is pure and accepts. I didn't hear everybody. That's too weak. Let's do it one more time. Allah is pure and accepts only that which is pure. If your acts are not pure, will Allah accept them? No. Allah has commanded the believers to do that which He has commanded the messengers. Do you know what I get so tired of hearing? When I'm talking about messengers, people say, oh, but that was the messengers. And I say, really? Oh, really? I said, well, what about this verse right here? Allah has commanded the believers to do that which He commanded the messengers. So you can give up that excuse now. But how many times do we hear, oh, no, but that was the prophet. That was so-and-so. That was so-and-so. Does it change what the Quran says? No. The Exalted has said, O messengers, eat of the good things and do right. And the Exalted has also said, O believers, eat of the good things that we have provided for you. Then he, the prophet, mentioned a man who after a long journey is disheveled and dust colored. The man stretches his hands out toward the sky and says, O Ra, O Lord, O Lord, while his food is unlawful, his drink is unlawful, his clothing is unlawful, and his nourishment, his knowledge is unlawful. How is he to be answered in such a state? You see how we have to be in that state of the original rule. You know, if I've got a drink in my hand and I'm saying, oh Lord, help me. If I'm smoking a joint and I'm saying, oh Lord, help me. I've got people that are trying to convince me that are Muslim, born Muslim, that Allah sent pot. I'm serious, it's a heart attack, folks. Even trying to convince me that this is a gift from Allah. Yes, I'm serious, it's a heart attack, folks. And I'm talking about some of the most educated people you can imagine. They try to convince me that this is a gift from Allah. But I want to tell you another little story. When I was a chaplain in the prison system, a guy told me one time he was a Robin Hood for Allah. And that he robbed banks for the sake of Allah. Now how does that story sound any different? That means people are deluded, folks. It means that they've lost that fitra, they've lost that connection. I hope that everybody took a picture of this hadith with their iPhone today. And that this will be the hadith that this week you see every single day. That this week you commit, what am I going to do better? What am I going to give up? What am I going to add to my life to take me back to that state? We want to be a family that's growing. We want to be a family that's experiencing nurturing. It's okay, I'm almost done. So. The importance of this hadith is that it describes the acts that are pleasing and acceptable to Allah. If an act is not pure and good, according to the Sharia, Allah will not accept it. How can I be safe from your tongue and hands if your mind state is altered? The only way that you can be safe from me, even as an imam, is if my mind is filled with Quran and Sunnah. The very reason that my class is prefaced with a verse for almost everything I say is because it's not coming from me. It's coming from Allah. Allah might not even respond to one who calls on Him if his sustenance, if his food or his knowledge is not from permissible sources. And there's no permissible source for using drugs and being a Muslim. Surah 24, Surah An-Nur 26, good women, al-tayyibat, are for good men, al-tayyibin. And good men are for good women. Such good people are innocent of every bad statement that the people make. Can you say that you're innocent of the bad statements that people make of you? That's what we want to be able to say. That if someone is going to talk about me, I am innocent of that statement. Next week we will continue on this same subject of purification. And we stopped at slide 1445. So if somebody makes a note of that. Yes, sister.
I just wanted to ask everyone if you could remember my sister in your duas. She was admitted into the hospital yesterday with internal bleeding. She might be having a procedure later this afternoon.
What's her name, sister?
Nina.
Nina. So everybody please make dua for Nina. I want to say to all of you that I love you for the sake of Allah. Ana yuhibbukum fi sabilillah. Yes, and may He who has caused you to love us, love you more. That is the hadith. We want to feel that love in this class. So my prayer is that those of you who came today, this will be a new sunnah for you. that you will continue to come till we overflow this place. And that you will be fed by what is said here. If you have questions that are not answered, there's a yellow box up there. Write it down. I will do my very best to answer your question. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Same place, same time, inshallah, next week. Please join us for the Eid on Thursday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.